So second foot broken, and I was so convinced to be in the Army. So all right, and they said, all right, you can, or be airborne. And so like, okay, well, you can heal up for 3 months. I sat around for 3 months, and I'm just watching all these guys who are injured and ligaments torn out, and just horrible, and then all these jerks that are in charge of them too. I mean, it's just like these, oh God, just absolute jerks, And I was like, you know what? I'm in this army for the next 4 years, or 4.5 years, or no, 3.5 years. I'm sorry. Uh, and yeah, that's what it was. By that point, I had been in training status for 3.5 years. I had not had a permanent place, a home. I'd been bounced around. I'd seen all these different leadership styles. I'd seen everything, I'd seen everything that the U.S. military does to their trainees, basically. And that's including old school, because the guy in charge of the holdover company at the airborne school, he was old school military, and we were airborne dropouts, so he had no qualms about laying hands and just badgering you and just getting in your face. So the new military, where they have stress cards. See, this is the other thing they're not bragging about in the military. But guess what, kids? You join the military, you can whip out a stress card if they're yelling at you too much. Our military is going to hell. But anyways, but luckily that's just they're the idiots, the guys who don't fight. That is the beauty. You got the guys that do fight, and they're not the guys who whip out stress cards. So, and that's why they're doing it too. I bet you that's what it is. They're gonna really figure out who are the hardcores and who are just the pansies that just trying to get money out of the government. So anyways, don't worry, I'm not revealing anything about the U.S. military. I ended up out in Hawaii. They said you can either go back in the airborne or you can go to Hawaii. And I was so convinced to stay in the airborne, though. That was the that was the other thing. The guy actually, this is how cool this guy was. The same guy who would lay hands on you and badger you if you weren't shaping up and running, running these insane 5 miles or 7 mile things every other day. He was cool, and he was said, what, listen, buddy, you can go to Hawaii, you'll get so many women. And I was like, but I got a girlfriend, over elsewhere in Georgia. And he was like, you'll forget all about her once you get to Hawaii. And I was like, well, this girl's pretty special, but okay, all right. I was like, but really, no, it's Hawaii. So yeah, I convinced, went to Hawaii. Now I get to Hawaii, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's like Los Angeles in a lot of ways, with all the traffic and development and the people, and the sense that, hey, there's another country right over the horizon. But yeah, went there, and something else that you can read all about this in my book if I can ever finish that. But I was in the military, learned a job that I was not prepared for, that they didn't train me for. It was really weird and unique, and it was basically just a secretary. That's what it was. It was just a secretary job, and it's like clean up the floor, go run these errands, go do this and that, build this, move this heavy equipment. That's literally what it was, and then a lot of just sitting around, but being responsible and sitting around. So, and I took that job to heart. I was like, man, that's me. That is what I want. Or this is cool, and I did feel pride in it. And then the guy I worked for just drove that pride out of me. And then they were like, boy, why are you such a bad soldier? And it was like, you guys are making me be a bad soldier. You guys say, you guys expect me to live up to this really weird, impossible standard. And it's like, just some people, they're not that totally flawless, I'm a little flawed, but guess what? I try to make up for it. I compensate. But I can't compensate in the military because it doesn't operate, according to that. You can't be strong in some area and weak in another, It's like, no, they don't recognize that. It's all about hierarchy, So, and I respected these guys so much. And I told them I respected them. I told the other guys how I respected them. And so at times I was like, this guy's a jerk, but, he's the boss, and he has accomplished this. So, not, if anybody complains about me or says, you just, thumb your nose at your boss, I never thumb my nose at my boss. Even when they accused me, which really upset me, that's when I really got upset with the boss, when they said, oh, you're being disrespectful to me. No, I'm not being disrespectful to you, and that's when you're being disrespectful. But I was like, no, man, I've never disobeyed an order. I did the job. I did what was expected of me, and more in some cases, and the thing is, sometimes I would, expect help, have hope for some help, and I was, they hold it against me then, And especially if you do like little stupid mess up things, and then they just hold it against you, and it's like, you do worse, or this guy does worse, and well, you're blaming me, or you think I'm the scum of the earth, and it's like, well, you're supposed to, and it's like, well, you're supposed to hold some sort of example. I do, but okay, so I messed up on a car, taking care of car registration, it was in the mail. Mail is slow in Hawaii, it's slow everywhere. I didn't feel like risk, but anyways.